now. Not recording. We're starting the YouTube. So YouTube stream should be up momentarily, and I'll tweet it out and all that stuff too. Come on. There it is. Okay. I was like, this is kind of rolling the dice here if this doesn't work. It should be
I was going to find the link because I was going to send it to my mom because she loves it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm about to tag you in this. I titled this episode the Lap Traffic Podcast, Sherwin.
Nice.
That'd be funny. Our buddy Brandon, who runs the Lap Traffic Podcast, I titled it that because we'll be talking about lap traffic a bit.
Well, there was definitely a big deal on Saturday about that.
Yeah.
Love his heart, man. Jeez.
Right?
Come on, Smith Lee. He didn't know the leaders were coming. Like, well, that's either a massive spotter issue that I'm not sure about, or kid just doesn't know how rearview mirrors work, man.
Casey Kane fired his for less than that. Fired his, and that was his cousin.
Yeah,
he did.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bristol.
Bristol. Yeah.
I just want to make sure because I was trying out the screen sharing feature earlier, just for the future reference. You guys can't see my screen right now, right?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because that would be awesome. I've got work stuff on
massive
here.
amounts of adult content on the other end of that screen. It's just
just randomly.
We can only see your face. It's all good.
That's something I always like to do when I'm watching something online where somebody's demonstrating how to do something, and you see all the tabs that they have open. You're like, what do you look? Oh, there's your bank account.
Yeah,
open.
Dude, people have gotten in trouble for that in the past. I forget who it was, but somebody tweeted, like it was a celebrity that tweeted something. Was it? It was a politician or something, and it had some really weird stuff open in his tabs, and like haunts the dude on social media to this day. Like anytime he posts something, everybody just respond and be like, "You seen any? You've been looking at that stuff lately?" Like every time. So,
oh man,
I hate I don't screen share, dude. And I've told everybody that I work with, like PR and talent and stuff, I'm like, I don't care how cool it is. Don't take a picture of your computer screen. Just don't ever do it. Like, it's just never a good idea.
Well, the nature of my work means I have to screen share and screen capture quite a bit.
Right.
So I am
you just learn how to close all the tabs first.
You just learn that you have this laptop here. I am never going to open anything of any sort of color on it. And this laptop is just always clean. I'm not even opening, like, NASCAR stories or anything, because who knows what it might say. Because it cuts it off. So there might be somebody's name. Dick Trickle does blah blah blah, and then all they see is Dick Trick, and that's that's it. So
that reminds me of that 70. Like Dick Trickle got a name drop on that 70s show back in the day. They were talking about something, and Eric Foreman on the show says like, "No, it was Dick Trickle," and his mom Kitty was just like, Eric. I still love that joke, man. If anybody's watching now, before we start talking about racing and the stuff that we're supposed to talk about on here, if you've never watched that 70s show, it is the greatest sitcom in history.
Wow,
no doubt.
Strong.
There's my like it's not the greatest TV show, but as
Hot
far
take.
as like 30 minutes weekly sitcom, that 70s show is the funniest show I've ever watched.
It's probably the one I watched the most when it was actually live.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode, and it's not because like I'm too young or too old or whatever. That was probably my right age group to watch it. It just never was like a thing for me. Like I was always, and I know they didn't overlap much, maybe never, but like Seinfeld when it was live, I was all over that.
Yeah,
I never actually. I could probably count on one hand the number of episodes of Seinfeld that I've watched.
Yeah, that's funny.
I
watched them
really
all
did watch
in
it.
syndication.
Yeah.
Like I think I've seen a good chunk of them in syndication. Same thing with Friends.
I've never gotten to Friends myself.
But that 70s show is
Jess
one
really
that I
likes
watched
Friends.
live quite a bit.
I've probably seen every episode of Friends, but still, man, I think that 70s show's still on Netflix. I haven't watched it in a while, but I'll still go back. There are a couple episodes, man, that are just classic. I love it so much.
Well, Friends is having like a renaissance, and Serena was telling me this. My wife was telling me this when we traveled a couple weekends ago because you're 4 hours in the car with each other. You're just random topics. She's like, Friends is having a comeback. Not like they're coming back to do the show again, but just that You know,
it's the 20-year anniversary of their finishing the show. I think
we went to. I talked about it last week. We went to Dollywood for our anniversary. I saw at least 4 or 5 like young teenagers. 13 to 16, not like 18 about to go to college or nothing, but young, late middle school, early high school. I guess it's all early high school. With shirts that said Friends on it, like with the logo and everything. I'm like, what do you don't know what that is? I barely know what it is because I never really watched it, but I know about it and who the people were.
I'd raise a glass to Jennifer Aniston for still looking just as good as she did as the first day
right?
of that show.
Girl's a vampire, man.
She's damn sure a vampire.
I like that. JoJo checking in. Hey, y'all. Oh, yay, it's CJ.
Reeves.
That's awesome. And
looking at the chat too.
Yeah, Roger attesting
people in here
to all those jokes being real. Love it. Well, CJ, you've been on so many times. You know how we roll the show and everything. So what we will do, just as a reminder, we'll disappear from you being able to hear us and we might even sound weird, or we've even heard.
Who is Scott Woliver? Is that your dad?
That would be my dad.
All right. What's up, Scotty?
Well, welcome, Scott.
I throw the IE on everybody. Freddie, Scotty.
Freddie, Fredo, Scott, Scotty.
Yeah, that's either my dad or my brother. It's just, honestly, it's kind of a revelation to me that my dad has a Google account. Because that's what that would imply, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dad, that's awesome.
Mom, LOL.
It's Mom on Dad's account.
Okay.
Okay. Way to go, Mom.
All right.
That's awesome.
Hey, Mom.
Well, welcome, Mama Woliver. We appreciate you being here.
That is the #1 Hot Pass fan of all time, and so we're bringing her into some PETM tonight.
All right.
Sweet. Well, we'll try to keep it clean.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mama Woliver, we love you. You're gorgeous. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see. Well, you know how we do the show. Like I said, we'll disappear for probably 90 seconds or sound weird. The folks will be able to hear you, but you won't be able to hear us. So if you're like, hello. And even after I gave this speech 2 weeks ago to one of our guests, right during the middle of the intros, he's like, guys, what's going on? I can't hear you. Like, that thing we just talked about.
I won't speak until spoken to after we start.
Who was
You'll
that?
You'll hear us come back. What's his well-read comedian, Drew?
Oh, Drew. Yeah. Yeah, it was Drew Drew Morgan.
Drew Morgan did. Yeah, that was funny. All right. Well, I'm ready to roll. CJ, you good?
I'm good.
Sherwin?
Yep.
All right. Recording now.
Charlotte, it's a normal way. NASCAR.
That is right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 217. It's Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. Apologies for not doing my due diligence on helping you out with the show notes.
It'll be an interesting one, but we'll get through it, and we got a great guest tonight to help us out with that. Before we do, y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM, join the Wet Drink Club for as little as $1 a month, and get that free koozie. Best part is, every cent this year will once again donate to sponsoring drivers. So join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by our official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. Here we go. Laura Henshaw, Aaron Britton, Robert Keplinger, Coleman McClam, Eric Kettner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brendan Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brendan Carl, Rika Porter, John Bob, Les Miller, Julie Bosley, John Pearson, Eddie Grid, Third Younker Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Matthew Camper, Lisa Chinana. I ran out. Rick Houston, Todd Oliver, and Sarah Anbari. Woo! We almost got there. Almost got there this time. I thought I had it too. I kind of went slower pace a little bit so that I didn't like skip and mess myself up. But that is what it is. Y'all are PTM Posse is just rocking it. Thank you everybody for being with us. And speaking of being with us, Sherwin, we have a fantastic guest on tonight. Y'all know him. Welcome back to the show. He's a PETM PhD. He's a senior associate producer, motorsports, social, and short form at NASCAR on Fox. Fox Sports and Speed. He's a fine karaoke duet partner. He's on Twitter at CJ Woliver. Welcome back to the show, CJ Woliver. What's up, CJ?
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having me back. And, man, props on the updated title. My actual title at work has changed since the last time I was on. I thought of that while I was on hold waiting for you guys to come back. You had that updated. That's awesome, mate. You got props, man.
You know what? We are professional amateurs here.
That's all Rusty, and props to him for gathering that information.
Hey, and then nice. Congratulations, by the way, then. Senior Associate Producer. So what's a new role? What's that all about?
I have fewer lines free on my business card, honestly. No, we're producing a lot more content ourselves on the digital team at NASCAR on Fox. In the past, it was not that we don't post TV content now, because we certainly do, but just in the past, it was a lot of sharing, Race Hub content and race day content. And while that stuff is fantastic and we still share it to this day, we have a lot of our own content that the digital team produces in Charlotte, like Hot Pass, like Waltrip Unfiltered. That's Mikey's podcast. It's 100% the digital team. Mm-hmm. We've got iRacing laps. Now we haven't done it for every race this year, but for the past few weeks, we'll have a driver or former driver that's a member of talent come in and take a lap around the upcoming track. They'll jump into our iRacing simulator that we have at Fox Sports. Ooh. And take a lap around like Jamie McMurray did the Roval, and I think Austin Dillon came in and did Richmond. So yeah, we have a lot of our own produced content that we make ourselves. So it was time for an updated title.
So PTM Podcast will come in and do Atlanta Motor Speedway. Is that what I heard?
I mean, they keep telling, I think it would be funny to have some of us amateurs get on there sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we could let Bobby Labonte make a lap around Indy and just kill it, and then put CJ and the PETM guys in there and be like, and this is what it would be like when the rest of you say you can do it. So.
Yeah. Well, difference is me and Sherwin don't say we can do it, and you said it would be funny.
No, I don't either, but there are so many fans like, oh, he should have done this from their couch.
Oh, right, so. Right. I can guarantee it'll be funny.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll crash.
Right.
There's
you might have to get
that I've always talked about race cars and not operated race cars. I have the worst hand-eye coordination in history. Like I'm still figuring out my Nintendo Switch after like a year.
Oh, so.
I remember when Rusty and I went to the Hall of Fame, and we went to the.
It's so bad, yeah.
And like we wrecked like 14 times, and then like the attendant came over and said, "Hey, you should probably start in second gear."
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay.
I was, and speaking, no, I say this so bad. The simulators are awesome. They're at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I love them. But the first time I did those, I missed the entire race because I couldn't get off pit road without spinning.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was with us when we started in first gear. They're like, you got to start second.
I was just doing circles, and they're racing, and I'm just spinning around head first into the wall by myself. So, yeah.
I hear you.
I spun it on pit road like 3 times, and the guy was like, "Hey, start in second, buddy.
Hey, just do something different." You're like, "I'm having NASCAR."
I'm gonna go backwards like we used to on Nintendo, man.
That's right. I'm taking out everybody. Oh man, Denny Hamlin, you ain't winning this.
Oh, Rusty and I used to do that on the PlayStation or the Xbox or whatever back in the day. Turn around and go backwards and just crash the whole field.
I think it was an N64 game that my brother and I had, and I think it was NASCAR 98. It was the one that had Dale Earnhardt on the cover, and it would let you go backwards. Like it would just give you like a prompt saying like wrong way, but it would still let you do it. And we would always say like, okay, this turn I'm gonna race and you go backwards, and then we'd switch for the next race at Talladega. Man, that was so much fun.
What was the one you had? It was N64, I think, wasn't it? It was like NASCAR 05, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Well, it was probably before 05 because by then the Xbox was out. But I had something on there, and we would.
Yeah, 4 tires or 8 tires are better than 4.
Oh my goodness!
We smashed some cars up in Martinsville.
CJ, I know we've started, but you know how we start this thing every time. What are you drinking on tonight?
Yes, sir. I am staying hydrated because I have Martinsville this weekend. So anytime I have an at-track weekend, I try to just I focus on the water. Also, my mom's watching, and I'm still an angel, so I'm not drinking anything tonight.
Yeah.
Well, we have the devil's juice down here in Atlanta.
Well, Mama Woliver, we're going to misbehave on your son's behalf.
It's all right. I get it. You guys can have all of it.
Got the old Jim Beam and Coke deal going on. Got this Hot Bullet double IPA from Sierra Nevada. Still got one of these flying fish outside. We'll just see what we get to. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
There's
we got
some bells,
a cornucopia of beverages here.
Just kind of leave it up here and wait for the next time, and then just drink warm beer. Who cares? We'll see.
Good beer can be drank at any temperature.
That's right. We'll see how deep we get into it. So, CJ, we know NBC, of course, has the Cup races right now, but Fox, I mean, y'all are busy as ever with all the other series and everything else going on. I heard that you recently arranged kind of this cool pit pass deal on FS1 for trucks. Give us a lowdown on that deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, our friends at NBC, they're having such a great second half of the year, so it's a lot of fun.
That's very kind of
you
because you could have just peed all over them right here. This is PETM podcast.
No, we're all in this. We're all in this together.
Like they're garbage. They're doing terrible. Dale Jr.'s an amateur.
No, I want people to watch NBC because I want them to watch all the way through Homestead and then decide they want to watch the Daytona 500 when it's back on Fox in 2020. So no,
there you
all
go.
on the same team.
There you go.
But that certainly, once Sonoma comes and is over, that certainly doesn't mean that we go to the house. We still cover for Cup content on social. We still have race day on Sundays on FS1 with Caitlin Vincey hosting the show, and then we'll have Larry Mack, Regan Smith, Jamie McMurray. Our all-stars are still, they're working every Sunday to bring you NASCAR race day. But also, we picked out, at the beginning of the year, we picked out a certain schedule of tracks. One that would be, easy to execute, but also would be some of the stuff where I could capture some of the best content on this thing, right? Not take a camera crew, not take a mic setup, not take a bunch of people to go and help us shoot. It's me with my phone, a stabilizer, and a Hot Pass mic plugged into it. Hot Pass, we did that at Talladega, which it was a little rough at Talladega if you've ever been there. Their new garage setup is amazing, but the cell phone signal there leaves a little bit to be desired at Talladega. But Martinsville is great signal, and I go there and I get on the Facebook page and I stream it. I walk around. I kind of pride myself on being a professional, like a NASCAR fan that gets paid to be a NASCAR fan. Mm-hmm. So I just tell people, let's go hang out. I don't have anybody in my ear telling me what to check out and what to say and what to see. I do zero show prep for these. I know the path I'm going to take, basically. But if someone says, no, go to the Xfinity garage, we want to see XYZ, I go to the Xfinity garage from the Cup garage. And so it's hashtag Hot Pass. We do it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. For certain weekends, I've got one weekend left this year that we're doing Hot Pass for. We're going to be in Martinsville all 3 days. And then, of course, we got the second race in the round of 6 for the trucks coming up. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. If you see hashtag Hot Pass on NASCAR on Fox at any time this weekend, that's going to be me, either a video that I've recorded or a live video that I'm hosting. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How's the response been to that? I mean, of course, I'm beside myself. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's been really great. And I'm trying my best to brag on the Hot Pass content and not seem like I'm trying to give myself an award, because the Hot Pass was my baby. I've been pitching this franchise to everyone at work for probably a couple of years, and just this year, all the stars aligned correctly that they really got behind it. We actually, for the first time this year, had a brand partnership for a couple of races when we were in Daytona, when we were in Talladega, and the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Coke actually jumped on to sponsor Hot Pass.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of tells you that we've gotten some pretty good reception out of it. There are probably somewhere between 15, 20 fans that if they weren't on a Hot Pass stream, I'd have to go and check on them. And it's not just my mom and my brother and my dad. We've got fans that are just always there. There's a guy named Andrew that he's been kind of I've actually ended up becoming friends with this guy because he was tweeting about Hot Pass all the time. I sent him a DM. He was at the track, hung out with him for a little bit. So that kind of stuff's great. They started calling themselves Hot Pass Nation. And like I said, there's only about 20 or 30 of them that are that diehard about it. But when you get some of those, it feels really good, and you know you're doing something right.
So shout out to NASCAR-itis at NASCAR-IDUS, who actually asked the exact question, kind of the origin story of Hot Pass, and if that was something that came from you, and whatever.
That's Freddie, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah, he changed his name.
Oh, Freddie. Awesome. Thanks, Freddie.
And I did, and just not to completely change the subject here, but I saw a great question come in from Todd, and any excuse to talk about Bob Pockrass, I'm going to take it. But Todd Oliver said, "What has Bob Pockrass meant to the Fox NASCAR crew since joining the team?"
Oh wow!
And I can't answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot accurately describe the value in having Bob Pockrass as a Fox family member. It's he before this year he worked for ESPN. He worked for a competing network. And so because of that, I wasn't really allowed to sort of endorse his stuff on Twitter. I wasn't really allowed to interact with him that much. Like that, not that they're going to tell me like never interact with another brand. Like, but it's part of brand social media. That's kind of how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always want to support and amplify our guys because we'd rather you be watching Fox or listening to a member of Fox Talent. But from afar, I knew that Bob really was the guy when it comes to being a NASCAR insider. And it was always kind of a little frustrating just because ESPN, while they are great at the sports that they cover, NASCAR wasn't really one of those.
Right.
I mean, they basically had football, basketball, every sport, and then Bob covering NASCAR. And so that it always kind of felt a little wasted to me, honestly. And then when he came over to Fox this year, we always used to react to news. 2017, 2018, I would always react to news. I'd see a tweet come out like, oh man, this person's going here, or this sponsor quit, or this sponsor's coming on. And then I would have to shuffle to react to it. And we had gotten really good at that. I don't have to do that anymore because if big news is coming, at least 30 minutes before that news drops, I get a text from Bob Pockrass that says, hey, at 4:00, I'm going to be tweeting this, and he will send me his tweet. And so I can go ahead and build stuff and have it ready to go. So the second Bob says something, I know it. So not only is he great at his job, he's great at being a teammate. He's not just looking for his tweets to do well. He wants the Fox brand to do well. He wants NASCAR coverage to do well, but he wants us to all be on the same page. And really, you probably wouldn't think it because he's very unassuming and just, he's sort of a softer spoken guy and he can be in the background tweeting 1,000 miles an hour and you'd never know he was there. But Bob's a leader in this industry with the tweet ups and responding to fans. Honestly, Bob Pockrass's contribution to Fox Sports and NASCAR on Fox specifically has been invaluable.
Yeah, well, so thankfully for Bob's transition from ESPN over to Fox, we were able to have Bob on our show because ESPN previously, like you pointed out, didn't really like to share very much. And so it was awesome after meeting him like 20 times at racetracks to finally have him on the show.
Yeah, and we ate vegetarian sausage biscuits on the show.
That's right. He dared us. He dared us to take a vegetarian meat challenge, and we rose to the occasion.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
because we were happy. Bob is vegan, and a lot of time that's something that honestly you don't see a whole lot of in the NASCAR garage. And so it's great to see him, he's promoting health and nothing. It's weird. Like I could sit here and brag about Bob Pockrass for days. And this isn't the at Bob Pockrass, like at We Talk About Bob podcast, which I could make it that, but just as kind of an example of just that everyone's probably seen by now, the Bristol foam party.
I was about to say, I know you still have that like pinned on your profile, on your Twitter profile.
Yeah, that is probably one of my proudest moments in my career. I was, we were working together on that Instagram story, and I actually left the media center at Bristol. Everything was over. The inspection was clear. We were done. And Bob came up to me and he was like, "Hey, CJ, do I need to do like another slide to close it out, to just sort of wrap up the story?" And I was like, "Yeah, if you could, I think that would be the best. There's just go out, you can do a Jeff Gluck quiet track picture. Like, I think it could be something more fun than that, but just record some sort of video to wrap it up." And he was like, "Well, I think I've got an idea." And I was just like, "Okay." It's like, "I trust you, Bob. Just let me know what it is." I'm on my way back to the hotel in Johnson City, and I get a text from Bob that says, it just said like check social or something. I didn't know what it was. And I was thinking like, man, I was thinking they found something. I think Reddick won that race. And I was like, Reddick probably, they said he passed, but probably something changed and he failed. So I pulled over trying to figure out what it was, because Bob will text me when somebody fails inspection. And I just pulled up Twitter, man, and it was blowing up with with the foam party video. And one thing that's going to be great. This is I am asking the entire PETM. I'm asking the entire PETM community for a favor. We're going to be doing the NASCAR Race Hub Fans Choice Awards again this year, where we take some of the biggest moments from the season. The biggest win, driver of the year, crew chief of the year. Well, there is a new category this year called Social Moment of the Year, and so there might be a clip that is nominated for a hubby this year that I would definitely like to see win that award. So I'm just saying.
We can certainly help make that happen.
That's right. It's only 10 seconds, so I'm playing it right now. Here we go.
I should know exactly which one it is, but actually my teammate at NASCAR and Fox Social was actually posting that one today. But they started NASCAR Fans Choice Awards for the best paint scheme of the year. So that's actually on Twitter right now if everybody wants to go check that out to vote for the best paint scheme of 2019. Those are fun, man. I have so much fun with that stuff.
I might have played Bob's thing right over the top of you, but I think we caught the end of it. It was only 10 seconds of that.
I should stop talking sometimes.
No, it's all good. Man. So let's do this. Let's talk some NASCAR Sherwin. Let's break it down, tear it down from this weekend. We're leading this week with 2 Xfinity stories, and me and Sherwin don't talk Xfinity too much on the show. When we're together, we talk everything, but the show, we have 1 hour. When we're together, we've got like 8 hours, Yeah. and when we're driving back and forth the tracks, we might have 12 hours worth of stuff. But on the show, we're usually sticking to Cup. But holy moly, we've got plenty to talk about. First, let's start with Garrett Smith Lee. Sherwin, I'm going to start this one with you and get your thoughts. This is the big hot topic. Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, both just straight up collected. If you were trying to do like a vacuum cleaner, you couldn't do any better than Garrett Smith Lee as a lap traffic person on there. He got a lot of, I would say, grief that was deserved, and then possibly grief that was undeserved, and folks like, I saw like Tommy Joe kind of coming around being like, whoa, let's not dig that deep, fellas. I mean, this is a problem, but it ain't like what you're saying. Anyway, wanted to give you, Sherwin, the floor to start with. Talk about Garrett Smith. And what we're talking about here is lap traffic. By the way, I named this episode the Lap Traffic Podcast just to be funny. So shout out to Brandon.
I like it.
Love you, Brandon.
Yeah, big shout out to Brandon.
Took you over this time.
Well, so I think the thing that makes it annoying, especially if you listen to all of the available like professional podcasts, as I use air quotes, with spotters like Brett Griffin and TJ Majors, is that like, why doesn't that driver know what line the leaders are running? And why doesn't he get out of it?
Or that they're coming? It sounded like he didn't even know they were even coming.
I think he's just got a crappy spotter. I think is what it boils down to. And I don't want to point fingers at guys on the roof that are actually getting paid to do things that I could never do. But yeah, I don't understand why he's in the way. Like, why are you in the way? Like, these guys are coming. I mean, you should know that the leaders are behind you. Mm-hmm. And he ends up collecting both of them. And all 3 cars are basically destroyed as a result.
Well, and as we've heard from Tommy Joe and plenty of other folks been on the podcast, the last thing they want to do is wreck out anybody else. They want to keep their stuff clean, make it to the next race with this car, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, they can't afford to wreck cars.
Right, and I don't doubt for a second that, that it's probably the worst day of his racing career, if I had to guess. And so the one thing that I saw, though, I think it was, I can't remember who said it. I think it was Reddick who said it, who was just like, yeah, I understand all that. It doesn't change that it happened, And
I'm
that's
a good point.
I can't argue against that. CJ, where are you at on all this?
And if you listen to, you'll see people that will tweet things, say they were listening to the scanner, or people that I've not heard the in-car audio, so I can't say this with any authority. But when you're a spotter up in that stand and you're trying to help a guy that is not competing to be up toward the front. I mean, it's somebody that is lap traffic, and he wasn't racing around anybody at that time. It's not like he was trying to get by somebody for position. It's not like he had a whole lot of other cars around him. The spotter in that position has one job: to keep him out of the way of the leaders. And I just don't feel like that spotter would fail that hard at that one job. Now, did Garrett Smith Lee maybe just not hear it? That's 100% possible. I mean, these race cars are loud. These guys have ear inserts, but stuff misses sometimes. He was out running by himself. Sometimes you just kind of get in your groove. You hit your spots. You're looking for your braking points. You're not braking points, but you're looking for your spots, right? To hit your marks, to run the laps. And so maybe he just kind of got in his zone. But I think that crash, while it probably would be easy to maybe say that it was the spotter's fault, I really think that crash comes 100% on Garrett Smith Lee. It's not the first time we've seen this with this kid.
Well,
I like Garrett, and I think he does have talent as a race car driver. Again, he can get off pit road without spinning 12 times like I do in a simulator. So I can't say too much about his ability as a race car driver not being where it should be. But this isn't something new with him, and I just don't see that being a spotter problem.
So you know who the spotter was, Sherwin? Freddie Kraft.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Freddie would probably be all about giving me some crap on anywhere, including text, if I gave him a hard time. But
well, in other words, we know Freddie Kraft. He ain't an idiot.
He's good at what he does.
And I don't think just making them. These cars are going. Very, very fast. Making a mistake in these cars doesn't make you an idiot, and making a mistake in the spotter stand doesn't make you an idiot. It just comes down to what I think is more likely for who made the mistake. And I gotta say that's someone that's still kind of new at this, is kind of learning his way, someone that has done it before. I really gotta say that comes down to Garrett Smith Lee.
Well, yeah, I think that's a better perspective than maybe the one I just provided.
I'm just saying, Garrett, I try my best to not. I don't want to crap on any of these guys. They do something every single week, and that's just me. That's how I stand. I get accused sometimes of being the perpetual NASCAR Kool-Aid drinker, but I mean these guys are putting on a show that I've loved since I was 10 years old, and they can do it and I cannot. But when it comes down to it, that if I had to make my guess, I just think Garrett Smith Lee can get better. Everybody makes mistakes, but just kind of own it and go to the next week. It kind of seemed like he was trying to say, I wasn't told. Not being told and not hearing something are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and Garrett's a guy that we've tried. I've tried multiple times to get on the show because he's a Georgia boy, and we like to support our local racers, and certainly we love Freddie Kraft. We've had him on a couple of times. So, I don't want I don't really want to whistle blow on anybody, but you know, when you're a part of the problem of wrecking the number 1 and number 2 driver in a race, there is some atonement that has to take place.
Yeah, and that goes back to I said it was Reddick. I can't remember if
it was Chase Briscoe and Christopher Bell.
Not Reddick. Either Briscoe or Bell. I can't remember who it was saying it doesn't change the fact that it happened, and that's to your point. You know, this happened. There's atonement for what happened. So let's move on to second period.
I will say I would assume Garrett Smith Lee earned a huge fan, someone that owes him a basket of fruit from the weekend. Brandon Jones, man, needs to send that kid a thank you card.
Well, there ain't
no way he beats Christopher Bell without the Garrett Smith Lee incident. I love Brandon Jones; he's a great kid. Ain't no way he wins that race with Christopher Bell still in the hunt.
Another Georgia boy,
right? All right, got to get these Georgia guys on the show. I'm not complaining at you, just saying. Interesting. Let's move to second period. We're staying in Xfinity. 2 periods in. Still in Xfinity right here. Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, go after it. Go at it after the race. I thought it was interesting. And again, I'm getting who it was mixed up here. But one of them, whoever was the quote unquote instigator, was the one who he had said. Well, I walked up to him and put my arm on his shoulder just to kind of like, hey, let's talk, and then suddenly blow up and like, well, if you're gonna hit me, then I'm gonna hit at you, and then whoever it was on the receiving end was like, well, he put his hand on me, so I'm gonna mess him up. Well, so it's like, okay, well,
that was Custer that walked up and put his hand on Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, that's right.
I've watched that clip probably 2 or 3 times a day since it happened, just repushing, and that's I know that clip well.
It was definitely Cole that instigated the situation, and on air, called him a dumb bleep.
Yeah.
Yes, there was that.
And then put his hand on him, and I'm like, and I've told everybody that I've conversated about this with, like, if you call me a dumb bleep and then put your hand on me, you better be ready to go heels.
Yeah, I mean, how are you, like, I get it. These guys probably, these guys do know each other. They've raced together for a long time. But yeah, somebody comes up at me. I mean, that's kind of, you can talk and not fight, but you come up, you grab, you put your arm out and you cuss the guy. Yeah, fight's going to happen. So, I mean, and the crew guys knew it too. It was what, half a second?
Everybody, it just went down at that point.
I tell you what, I give a lot of credit to Tyler Reddick. He's a little bitty dude, but he stood his ground.
He's scrappy, man. He went after it. And now, and they said they're not going to penalize anybody, but they're going to quote unquote look at the teams coming in and help. It's like, well, that's what a team ought to do. That's one.
Let him throw some hands.
I'm different on that. I think, I get it. Standing up for your guy. I was always just the PR guy. I've never turned wrenches. I've never cranked jacks. I've never done any of that stuff. But, I was a PR guy, and the team at NTS that I worked for, I was fortunate enough that they included me as part of the team. I was one of the guys. And one of my guys was going to get into an altercation one time. Thankfully, it didn't escalate past that. But, I went with him. We were gonna back him up. But mainly we went with him to back him up because we knew that guy's crew was going to back him up too.
Right.
Sometimes I kind of wish these drivers would just let your drivers fight. They're not going to kill each other. Everybody's going to be fine. They're not going to hurt each other. They're going to be able to race next week. Let your drivers fight. Let the officials pull them apart if they're going to. I really think the crews kind of need to chill when it comes to driver fights.
Here's where I'll agree with you.
Yes, please, with sugar on top.
Here's where I'll agree with you, is that the crews ought to be fighting each other. Like Reddick's crew should not be hitting Custer. They should be like pushing and shoving with Custer's crew while Reddick and Custer are fighting also. Like, this should be a brawl, I guess is what I'm going
right.
Battle
Royale.
The Custer, the contact between the contact, not on the track, the post-race contact between Custer and Reddick, those two guys, there's no issues there. I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing the passion. I love seeing the drama. There were no water bottles and nobody splashed anything at anybody in this fight, which made me happy. But not to bring that back up. But I really, the worst part of the fight was the crew guys going at Reddick's head. And that's just, come on, guys. Y'all fight. Y'all are big dudes. Some of y'all are former college athletes. You guys are carrying these tires. You're strong dudes. And then you got these little race car drivers that they are good at what they do, but they're not the biggest guys in the garage by no means. Y'all fight. Let your drivers fight. It gives us 2 separate videos. Just stop piling on the drivers, man.
Well, that's for sure. And I don't think anybody ever saw a crew member go after Elliott Sadler.
Yeah,
because he was bigger than them,
and like Tony was felt like the kind of guy, like if you hit him and there's blood, he'll lick it and go, all right,
so let's go some more.
So it's just, I get it. Like we're at a point now where we know that NASCAR's not going to penalize these guys just for fighting. And hey, my sister-in-law just came home. You want to be on the PETM podcast? She's behind me. Sorry about that. Her name's Nikki. So she just got back in.
Hey, Nikki.
Say hi to everybody. It's my sister-in-law. She just came in. If you guys heard that.
Come on in. But, do a segment with us. There she is.
I forget sometimes this is a podcast. This is an audio product, not necessarily the video product's bonus. So sorry about that. But just the crew guys shouldn't be. Pull your guys back, I guess, but nobody's going to get penalized. Nobody's going to get killed. Crew guys, just check on the car. Stay with the car. You're fine. Like there's no reason for crew guys to be piling on these drivers.
Well, I get the whole aspect of like being a team and like wanting to have that team camaraderie. But if we're going to support, like you said, the fact that NASCAR is really kind of said without saying that we're not going to penalize drivers for getting in altercations physically outside the car, like, if that's what we're going to do, let these guys throw hands at each other.
Hey, one of you guys read Matthew Todd's comment on YouTube real quick, because it's really nice, but I feel like it'll be super arrogant if I read it.
He says, PETM Posse, I'm a big CJ Woliver fan. His hot pass moments are excellent part of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday pre-race. He tours the depths for us, and then it went away. Who can't be there? So
I guess we found my mom's burner account, right? So thanks, Matthew. That means a lot, buddy.
You know, and as we're talking about this, Sherwin, every time that there's been like an altercation that we're part of, just slight little misunderstandings, we'll call it. What do? You run up to your buddy and you pull him away, and you look at the other guy and you're just like, hey, let's quit this thing. Let's stop. You don't go at the other guy suddenly, because he's probably got a posse that's going to come in and start, and then it's an ordeal. You're here to pull your guy away. So I don't know how in NASCAR it was other than these are big guys and they're ready to throw some bows, I guess.
So that's the thing too, is like I said, I've been on some of these teams and I've worked with some big guys who travel every weekend, and they kind of like to scrap. I think a lot of times it's that some of these guys look forward to fighting and want to and think it's fun, and that's where the penalties should be coming. I mean, honestly, I think let your drivers fight. Let them smack around. Yep. Let these drivers swing. I mean, we saw we've seen fights that were much worse than this one was ever going to be before, and there were no penalties. But start penalizing these crew guys, man. That'll get them to quit and just let these drivers fight.
Sherwin, third period.
No doubt.
We're going to talk playoffs. Again. Here we go. We're abandoning Xfinity. We're going to Cup. Hamlin wins the race. Chase second. We'll get to that in a minute. But Byron, Boyer, Bowman, and Brad. Now, I picked the 4 Bs, but Brad wasn't one of them. I picked Blaney as the other B.
Right.
So
but he wound up winning at the
right. We both got eggs on our face for those deals. You got a second egg on your face with Hamlin and Larson having one.
Whoops.
I called 3 of the 4. You called 1 of the 4. And Sherwin, Brandon Crowd from Lap Traffic on our show picked Boyer, Byron, Bowman, and he said, you know what? I'm going with Keselowski out. So, Brandon.
Did he crush it?
He crushed it. He gets the horn.
Dang.
He gets the horn. There you go.
All right, Brandon.
The greatest.
You got the fart horn.
There, yeah. That's the greatest piece of respect you can get on the PTM podcast is the foghorn. So well done, Brandon Crowd. 3 races ago, picking the exact 4. I don't know what clairvoyance came over him, but well done, Brandon. And now this week we stole your podcast name as part of our show name. So go screw yourself. That's what you get. Oh, man. Obviously, Keselowski, a surprise. Any other surprises there for you, CJ, between Boyer, Byron, and Bowman?
I mean, honestly, I think, Brad. So you talked about it. Brad not being part of the championship hunt going into this new round. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. I didn't actually write down my picks at the beginning of the playoffs anywhere this year, so I can pretend like, oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's fine. I totally called that. But more so to me, that is surprising than Brad falling out is the fact that Chase Elliott was able to rebound and get back up there. And that's not to, I'm going to get berated now by the Chase Elliott army. I think Chase is incredible. I think
we're two soldiers in that army, by the way. So
I think
it's
Chase
probably
Elliott
one of your periods.
Yeah.
Of all the awesome young guns that we have right now, Chase Elliott is by far the most talented. I will say that. And so no way do I think that it's surprising that he has the skill level to advance, but we just don't see that stuff happening. I saw Bob tweeting before the race, like people were asking him for his predictions and asking who he thought was going to move on to the new round. And he just said, I don't think anything changes. I think the people that are above the line now will be the people that are in the round of 8. I don't think anyone moves up. I don't think anyone falls down. And honestly, I thought that too. That's just kind of how these days work out. But Chase Elliott being able to just stay there and just make sure he was in a spot to capitalize if anyone had an issue and was up close enough to be able to make sure he could get the job done. That's awesome. I am surprised because I just realize how unlikely it is, but I'm not surprised because I know Chase Elliott's the kind of guy that shows up when it's time to show up. That's just awesome, man. I'm still very impressed with that 9 team after Kansas.
Well, and it bleeds into our fourth period of how in the world did Chase even make it in? We talked last week. I mean, he's 22 points behind, and not just 22 points behind, but the next person ahead of him is 18 points behind. In other words, there's somebody else that he has to overcome before he overcomes the next person to get in. And we talked with Kelly Crandall last week about stage points being a big deal. I don't think that became a huge factor as much as just Chase putting himself in I think CJ said it best, putting himself in the most, or in the best position, other than first place. Second place, I guess, is the best position other than first, but putting himself in the best position to make something happen. So impressive.
Yeah. And he still has a chance to go and race for his first championship, and talk about something that would absolutely set NASCAR on fire. And it'd be incredible leading into Daytona, but I don't want to jinx him. I'm not going to say that out loud, but just, we know how good he is at the tracks that are coming up, and we know how good this kid is at Martinsville. I really think that Chase Elliott, if he continues, I mean, and this is a morale booster for him and his entire crew going into Martinsville. I really think you got to watch out for Chase Elliott if you picked anybody else for the title.
That's strong to say.
Yep.
You're saying Chase and title in the same sentence. We're
Yep.
Well, I would lose my mind.
Do I think it's likely? No. Do I think it's possible and would be awesome? Yes.
Well, who knows what's likely anymore, right?
Well, he's really good at Martinsville.
I didn't think Chase making it to this round was likely before Kansas. So, it's incredible.
Make it in the next round among tracks that he's pretty good at, and now you have a chance. It's any given Sunday when we get to Miami, right? So at that point, get to Miami and then see what happens. But I think he's got a strong – we are also bleeding into our picks for who makes it to Miami coming up.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
It's fine.
But he's strong at these tracks coming up. If we pick in a minute and you don't include Chase, I might raise an eyebrow.
Well, without a doubt. And so let me ask you this, CJ, real quick, before Rusty gets to fourth period, or fifth. I'm not sure what's next. So I saw something that really kind of threw me off. It was somebody that said, well, like WWE, things are scripted. NASCAR obviously figured out a way to get Chase Elliott into the next round. And I'm like, is that what you watched on Sunday? Because that's not what I watched.
Not at the cost of Brad Keselowski making it. And I would just say that's just the number one rule in social media: don't respond to trolls.
I didn't respond.
Oh no, I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying whatever you did. I'm just saying like that's a troll and doesn't even deserve a response.
Yeah, and every time the thing is that one guy may have been a troll, but I see a lot of NASCAR fan comments, and there are people that say that being 100% legitimately honest more than you would think, and I think the number one reply to that is and always should be Dale Earnhardt Jr. retired without a championship.
Right.
We're done. You can't talk about it anymore. That's all you got to say.
That's all you got to know is Dale Jr. didn't win every race he ever entered.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you realize what it would have meant to NASCAR as a sport to have in the last couple of years of Dale Jr.'s career for him to pick up that title, to have an Earnhardt champion in NASCAR? They were rigging stuff, man. Come on, that dude would have 8.
Everyone would have lost their mind.
It would have been huge. It would have been huge. Yeah. And we're big Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans ourselves. We didn't really ever publicly kind of disclose that, but it would have been the best thing that could have happened to NASCAR in the last 4 years.
Right. If you're going to fix something, fix that. I think that's what we're all saying here.
And then Danica left without ever having won a race. Like, all it would have taken for Junior was one title. All it would ever have taken from Danica is one win. And those never happened. But yeah, NASCAR rigs stuff and lets Jimmy Johnson win 7 in 9 years.
Well, you put all the puzzle pieces together right there.
I would argue that NASCAR did everything they could to make sure Jimmy Johnson didn't win another one, and he still did.
Right.
So there you go. I'm with you 100%. I'll make a drinking word this time. We're gonna go into the bleachers and smoke cigarettes for fifth period, and then skip straight to recess here, which is that Atlanta Motor Speedway. Have you seen this one, CJ? Atlanta Motor Speedway proposes a $1 billion casino entertainment complex. They got a water park. They're putting Top Golf in there, roller coasters, hotel, restaurants, etc. All kind of hinging on. It feels like this is kind of a play to the. I would say Georgia, because they're not really in Atlanta. They're way down in Hampton. But it's kind of a ploy toward the Georgia. I would say Georgia government to say, hey, if you let casinos happen here, this is what we will make happen. We're gonna bring in something like 3,000-4,000 jobs. We're gonna have all this cool crap.
Harris has made a lot of attempts at Atlanta to get a casino in Atlanta.
Yeah, and so the question is, does this have any legs, or is this just kind of like a? Since we're speaking of trolls, is this kind of like a troll to the Georgia state legislature of, hey, buttholes? You ought to try this thing out. Apologies to Mama Woliver on the buttholes comment.
Oh, she's fine. She's fine. She knows buttholes are in this garage. But
well, I'm hoping my mama ain't watching, so she doesn't have to hear me say the word buttholes.
No, dude, I'm still on here. Mom's still watching. I guarantee it. But I honestly, I can't say anything with any. I can't say anything about that with any authority. But I don't think they're trolling. Those types of proposals and those types of things that you do in order to be able to say that you're, actually trying something like that, that actually takes quite a bit of effort and quite a bit of work and organization. I don't know whether or not it will work, but I don't think that that's something that they're just doing because they're trying to send a message. That's something they're doing because they want to get a casino in there. So that's my take on it.
Well, and here's the thing that struck me, because this was the number one comment that I got when I retweeted it, was that the schematic they showed Atlanta going back to the original configuration that was a straight 1.5 mile oval.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were excited about that. And Junior's talked about that on his podcast a ton of times about how he wished he could have got to race, at Atlanta on the old regular configuration. So that to me is interesting. in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and those types of things too. Even putting together that presentation, that's not easy. So I mean, I don't know whether or not we will ever actually see this come to fruition, but I certainly think that it is something that is going to be. They're going to try to make it happen. I don't know if it will or not, but I think it would be a good thing, and I think it would help.
Well, and especially with all this talk about sports betting and stuff. Regardless of if you're letting the one-armed bandits and the blackjack tables in, there's an opportunity for sports books, regardless of what happens. So I think that part kind of has legs. I would love to see the roller coaster. You know me, I'm a roller coaster fan. I'll go down there and
I'd love to go ride the roller coaster, then put a bet in the window, and then go watch a race.
And I can fly us down there. Like that would be. How about do that for a little bit?
And I mean, and I've already talked to Mandy about getting media passes for next year.
Yeah,
and
so we're in. I'm digging it. I love it. Chuck Ox at Chuck Ox 1979 says, "Will there be a hellacious PTM party at Topgolf if it opens at AMS?" Chuck, I think you've already answered your own question right there.
Yeah, that's an emphatic yes.
Yeah, that's super duper.
So for those that are listening that are like, what the hell is Topgolf? If it hadn't come to where you're at, it is the most awesome combination of golf, darts, and bowling all combined into one.
And you don't have to be good at sports to do it. You just you
just hit the ball.
You can throw it at it if you want to.
And the food's great at Topgolf too. Like that's honestly, this might sound. I'm definitely a bar food kind of guy. Like that's that's some of my favorite stuff. Man, they got some food at Topgolf. I love it.
Yeah, they have an outstanding kitchen. They have an outstanding sports bar in the ones that I've been to. Like, you don't even have – if you don't care about hitting the golf ball, it doesn't matter. There's a sports bar right there on the second floor for you.
And possibly a sports betting casino right next door. CJ?
And one thing, too, every time I think about Topgolf, I think about one of the most impressive things I've ever seen someone do, just because it was incredible watching him do it. Hollywood Jeff Hammond, that dude can play golf, man. We went out there for a Race Hub Race Day party. It was either last year or the year before that. You should see that dude play some Topgolf, man. It was. I want to record it, make it a video, and tweet it, just because that dude can kill it.
He's got some serious shoulders. I bet he can swing.
He's got
golf
some swing, man. Yeah. He's all over it.
Todd Oliver on the YouTube comments says, "Will a back be thrown out at said party at Topgolf?" I'm not sure about a back being thrown out, but somebody will be thrown out.
Somebody will be thrown out.
Yeah.
Something will get thrown out at that party, y'all.
Hopefully they just make it a year or 6 months. Maybe hopefully it's not an indefinite ban, but
right.
Thrown out's probably going to happen.
I feel like me and Sherwin have the connections to get in. I'm not sure we got the connections to get back in yet.
To keep from getting thrown out.
We probably better not F up.
We got some questions from the PTM posse. Mick Rose at GoDucks42 _Mick. Is it an advantage or disadvantage for JGR having 3 cars in the final 8? I guess, Mick, that depends on whose perspective you're looking from. If you're JGR, you're feeling pretty darn good. I think it's an advantage for... where are we going? We're going Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. I feel like at Texas and Phoenix especially, if you're running up front with a teammate right behind you, I mean, that's the way to be.
At Martinsville, when you can let the guy, if you got a teammate and let him go outside and pull down in front of you on a restart.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely an advantage.
Given these tracks, I think it's a strict advantage for sure. CJ?
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think about it too. Joe Gibbs Racing, they pay their employees and they continue to race by selling sponsorship. And when you can say we had, there were 5 cars in the round of 8 that weren't ours. And so, these guys that win these championships, these guys that actually win, advance in the playoffs, they don't go in it like, oh, this is a playoffs race. We got to do this different. And, we're the only, let's say hypothetically, we're the only JGR car in the round of 8. So that means that we're going to have all these guys working on our stuff. And we're going to have all these cooks in this kitchen as we go on to try to get to the round of 4 and win a championship. No, the guys that win these titles are the ones that treat these like any other race. They continue to work with the people they've worked with all year. They run it the same way they've ran every other race all year. I mean, you saw Harvick talking about it after he had his inspection issues. Like, do you do anything different because this is an elimination race? And he said, no, we run these races like we run every other race all year, regardless of when it is or where it is. So I don't think Joe Gibbs Racing wants the Final Four. It can't be because Eric's out, but they want the Final Four at Homestead to be 3 of their guys and someone else, regardless. So no, I don't. I'm not. If anything, it's an advantage. I don't think there's any way it's a disadvantage.
Right. You know, Sherwin. I know Sherwin's kind of choking on something here. He's trying to get his stuff back. I'm still stuck on the last question from Todd Oliver here about Topgolf. You remember? It had to be 8 or 10 years ago. Me and you.
Yeah, he threw out a lung, not a back.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, we're ready to roll right here.
That was rough right there.
You remember 8 or 10 years ago, we went to the bowling alley and we decided to do dizzy bowling, and I have not laughed that hard in my life. In my life, I guess is the way to put it. Sherwin, and I know we all did it, but this is the one that I was witness to.
I ate some monster poop.
Sherwin does his dizzy bat thing where, you know, you spin around 5 times and then you have to, like, at full speed throw the ball. And, like, he threw it and then went it's just like at Darlington when you went over the fence. Sherwin went horizontal and then crushed the floor. And I must have laughed for the next 20 minutes. Imagine some dizzy Topgolf shoot. I'm just thinking of everything that could happen.
Dude, that platform at Topgolf is a long way down, dude. Like, that might actually be an injury. So.
There is
somebody fell off one recently.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you know what?
I mean, there's a net there, but like, I mean, it only extends out like 6 feet. So,
right. So
if you have a total yard sale, like. You might have a problem on your hands.
Right.
Yeah, we'd all be going so hard 6 feet ain't going to catch us. So.
yeah, we're going deep on this one. Y'all, let's gas it up. Going to Martinsville coming up. I want to do some picks to start with. We've done picks every round thus far. We're going to do picks again. This time, last 2 times we've done who's out. This time it's who's in. Who is your Final Four going into Homestead after this round of 3 races at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix? So we'll give our esteemed guest the first pick, and then we're going to steal off of his thoughts and make ourselves sound smart. So, CJ, you're up.
Kyle, but I mean, I think you've got 2 guys that, in my opinion, one definitely go. Kyle Busch is in the Final Four in Homestead. I think Kevin Harvick wins Phoenix, so he also goes to the Final Four. Those other 2 are kind of up for debate. Honestly, I think Denny Hamlin has all the momentum right now. He's also very good at Martinsville. We could see Denny go and win this weekend and make sure that he punches his ticket for Miami. So, honestly, I think my Final Four are Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, and that Elliott boy. Those are my 4.
That Elliott boy. And this goes on a question from Drop the Jack Podcast at Drop the Jack Pod. So awesome hanging out with y'all. With Kyle Busch's lackluster playoff performance, do you think he makes the Final Four after dropping to 4th in the first round, 5th in the second round? CJ, sounds like your answer is yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's back up at the top already. I mean, I was looking at, after he's 18 points up on the cutoff line as we speak after Kansas. So, yeah, Kyle Busch makes it in. If the 18 is in the field, he is a threat for the win. If he's in the playoffs, he's a threat for the championship. I don't think you can ever discount Rowdy.
Sherwin, you're up.
I think I would the only thing I would edit from CJ's list is I would put Truex in over Kyle Busch.
Okay, so you're saying Truex, Harvick, Hamlin, Chase.
Yep.
There you go. I thought that CJ had a big miss right here with Truex. I'm definitely going Truex. I think he's been so strong early in the playoffs, and he's if Kyle Busch is 18 points ahead, Truex is 14 points. So there's that. I have to go Chase. We already talked about it. These are strong tracks for Chase. I don't see him walking away from this one with his tail between his legs.
Well, and Hamlin's really good at Martinsville and Texas.
And Hamlin was my third as kind of like I hate it, but I think he's strong there. So I got to go with a fourth, and I got to pick somebody that y'all ain't. I'm going with our reigning champion. He knows what it takes to get there. Joey
last place.
Yeah, Joey last place, coming in first this time. Truex, Chase, Hamlin, Logano. We'll see what happens there and see if any one of us can top Brandon from this past one.
Just as a closing thought from me, there are still people that harp on this playoffs format, but think about what just happened on this show. There are 8 guys. We got to whittle it down to 4, and not one of us had the same 4. So I'm just saying, I think I love me some playoffs, and that's another huge reason why.
Boy, if you want to hear me talk out of both sides of my mouth, just have me talk about NASCAR playoffs, because I can definitely chew it out and celebrate it both at the same time.
Yep.
And so I think I'm in the space now where it's, hey, this is what we have, and NASCAR is not showing any reason to change what they have. So let's celebrate it in that respect. So. New follower shout out, Sherwin. We've got 2 folks from YouTube, Amy Buchanan and Lonnie Young. I might have shouted out Lonnie before, but Lonnie, you get an extra shout out here. So thank you for hanging out with us. We've already gassed it up, going to Martinsville. CJ, what are you up to this weekend?
We got Hot Pass all 3 days. I'm actually driving down, going to check into my hotel. I know it's close here in Charlotte, but a 2-hour drive every day is a little bit much. So the kind people at the Fox Travel Department got me a hotel this weekend. So I'll be in Martinsville Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Hot Pass. Then on Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, we've got trucks qualifying. 1 o'clock, we got trucks race day. 1:30, we got trucks green flag. That's all on FS1. And then all 3 days, even if we're not on the air, I'm going to have Hot Pass just kind of pointing my phone at cool stuff. And someone asked earlier, it may have been Todd that asked earlier in the stream, if I have a snack at Martinsville, does that make it a Hot Pass hot dog? Absolutely. And there's a tradition at Martinsville on Hot Pass is that we all order hot dogs in the comments. Like I say, how do you like your hot dogs? How many you want? And then I go and I talk to the hot dog people, and we go through some of the hardest and the easiest and the best and worst hot dog layups. So everybody make sure you come on Hot Pass and order you a hot dog, and we'll go talk to the hot dog people there in Martinsville.
So when you get your hot dog, do you get it with mustard and chili and slaw?
Nope, I'm a chili weenie kind of guy because if you got all that other stuff like the slaw and the onions, everything, that gives you less total space for more Martinsville hot dogs. It's all a strategy so that I can shove more hot dogs into my face.
That's fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm in.
So yeah.
Give me some like if it's on a Martinsville hot dog, I'll take some mustard and some onions. Just to kind of top it off. I like a chili dog now, but if it's a Martinsville hot dog, I kind of want to taste the hot dog, but give me some of that mustard and onions.
Didn't we, when we had ours when we went, didn't we get like the full on?
We might have. I don't know what. I didn't eat just one, so.
Right. Well, we had a bologna burger too, and y'all definitely go get a bologna burger when you're at Martinsville this weekend, because those are fun.
Oh, what else was I going to talk?
That just gives me less room for Martinsville hot dogs, and I love them so much.
CJ, back when I was traveling with my job a lot, I would go up to New York, and we had this thing where you could stay, like the company had a deal where you could stay in this nice hotel just off of Manhattan Island, whether it was in Queens or Jersey City. I'd stayed in both before. But if you could find your own hotel for the same price in Manhattan, you were fine to stay there. The company didn't care. They just didn't want to pay, $800 for the same thing they could get for $300 in Queens. And I understand that. But I would always pick the nastiest, crappiest hotel in Manhattan so that I could be there where I'm at. Have you had any nastiest, crappiest hotel experiences so that you could be there?
Yeah. So not ever with Fox. Fox puts us in incredible places, and I don't even pick them. They when I say like, hey, I'm going to this weekend, they'll send me an email that has the address, and we're all there. So not with Fox, but for Atlanta a few years ago, I just wanted to be there, and it wasn't part of the travel plan and budget for that year. And so I actually did an Airbnb that was about $20 a night. Guy was super nice, and it was clean, but I was basically in a closet for a weekend. So yeah, that's kind of my crappy race hotel story, but it was more Airbnb.
Well, next time you're in Atlanta, come stay at Chateau Sherwin.
I was going to say,
yeah, I don't think I knew you guys yet. I think this is before PETM.
So you definitely. There's plenty of room at my parents' place if you want to come stay with us. We're about 9 miles from the racetrack. You'd be more than welcome.
And we stay there.
Thank you, buddy. That means a lot.
Stay up and play cards and stuff.
Play cards, drink beer.
Well, CJ's got to be at the track. CJ always tries to beat. I don't know why I'm talking about myself in third person. I always try to beat Bob to the garage. I haven't done it yet, but I keep trying to. So, man, it's like 8:30, man, bedtime for CJ.
I think I remember, and maybe it was you who brought it up on the show, that there was like a hashtag meme of I beat Bob to the track. I think that was you who brought that up. So,
well,
it's tough to do.
We had Brandon from Lap Traffic last year, and Rusty and I stay upstairs, and we get up a little bit later. So there's a bedroom for you this February or March now.
March, yep. Yeah, we're out of winter this time.
If you'd like a free place to stay, you are welcome to stay at my parents' place in Fayetteville.
Thank you, buddy. That means more than you know.
We got to do picks for Martinsville last week. Kelly picked Harvick, who finished 9th. I picked Keselowski, who finished 19th, and Sherwin, you were the winner of the crowd, taking Clint. Although he didn't make the next round, he did finish 8th. So time to do some picks. CJ, you're up first. Give us a pick for Martinsville.
Chase Elliott.
Whoa!
I think the morale on that team gotta be high right now. He realizes we might not be that lucky. I mean, going in and be able to scrape our way into the round of 4 in Homestead. So, I don't know why I said round of 4. It's not a round, but to get into Homestead. So I really think they're going to be as focused as they've been all year. We know he can get it done there. We know he's good there. Looking for a clock. I say Chase Elliott gets it done in Martinsville.
I've got second pick, and I'm thinking a lot about momentum right now. Who's got the mo? And there's 2 guys that come to mind, one with my head, one with my heart. I'm going with the heart, and I'm going to pick Truex to win this round in Martinsville and show CJ that excluding Truex from the final round was a mistake. So I feel strong that I think Truex finishes strong here.
Well, CJ totally took my pick.
Well, that's not surprising. I think you picked Chase 40% of the race.
Well, you and I, between the two of us,
probably 80%.
Probably like 80% of the races. Yeah. This is the race that despite the fact that I left him out of the Final Four that we just picked.
Wait, that doesn't make sense, bud. I forgot about that part.
But
he's talking out of both sides, like you were talking about.
Yes,
I'm talking out both sides.
Hey, if you want PETM, you get both sides of your mouth.
yeah, you get both sides. I think Kyle Busch.
Kyle,
even though I didn't pick him to get to Homestead, I think Kyle Busch is going to rebound.
That's interesting. Interesting. Do you want to change your previous pick?
No.
No, it's hedging is what it is. It's when you go in and there's like a 3-1 on this guy and there's like a 1-4 on the other guy, and you make both bets and you're guaranteed some money.
Exactly.
I respect that. I'm good.
That's not a bad strategy call. I don't think his pick for the race wins right, but it's not a bad strategy call.
Well, CJ, we've held you for an hour and 6-7 minutes, something like that. Appreciate you being on. Close us out. Tell the folks what's coming up, where they can find you.
I'm at CJ Woliver on Twitter. If you're ever trying to figure out how to spell that, it's Oliver with a W in front of it. So just follow hashtag Hot Pass from NASCAR on Fox all weekend from Martinsville. It'll be our final Hot Pass weekend of the year. And so we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to go out in style. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys come hang out with me over at NASCAR on Fox. And also, we just started the official NASCAR on Fox Facebook Fan Council. It's a public group that you can request to join. I'll go in, approve you, and you can put in there when it says, like, how'd you learn about us? You can put PETM Posse. But it's called Fox Sports Victory Lane on Facebook. Everybody come hang out with us there.
Excellent. We'll do that too. I have a whole Facebook account that I can hang out with. So yeah, y'all be sure to do that. CJ, hang out with us for a little bit afterwards. With that, y'all know what the deal is. Y'all follow us, PTMPodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on the Twitter handle, Sherwin.
And I'm at PTM, at Pregame Engineer and at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram.
And I didn't say I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor on the Twitter handle. We'll be back with y'all next week for that first round of the playoffs. It's going to be a blast. I'm excited. Thank you so much, CJ, for joining us. We'll talk to y'all next week, as always. Woo whoop! There it is, in the books. CJ.
Man, I love that song. I love that song so much.
Isn't that good?
I added Sydney. Like, I went in. It's actually not on iTunes. Like, if you go and just search for it, of course. But I went in and manually added that song to my music app on my iPhone so that I could listen to it on my way to the track.
Dude, you got enough clout. You need to get that song on NASCAR on Fox at some point.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Hey, my man. Yeah, if you need me to connect you with Sydney, I
know Sydney well. We were talking a couple weeks ago about the possibility of maybe using it for something on social. At least I can make that call.
Okay, good.
That's fantastic.
I was going to say, Sydney and I are pretty close.
Yeah, she's a great girl, and I love that song. I actually played it during the pre-race ceremony. Like, we went, it was like, invocation, national anthem, Sydney at Kingsport Speedway this year. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
Man, dude, this has been a blast.
Man, hair stood up the whole time. Look at that.
It sure did.
I did good.
It sure did. And the hat. Well, I'm not saying it was in frame, but it's back there.
It's back there somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. I was trying to drop a NASCAR on Fox logo, and it didn't really work out. So there we go.
It happens, man. Yeah, it's been awesome.
You got the buds working though. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to get this thing going. This is the time when I have to take over being a host, which I'm not great at.
It's okay. But, I'm actually. I know you guys do this for a little bit, but I'm actually. I talk so loud, my voice carries so much. Thank you guys so much for having me. I think I'm actually going to head out. If that's okay,
my man. No problem.
Yeah, no worries, bud. We appreciate your time, man.
And we'll hang out. It's so much fun being on here, guys. I really appreciate it more than you know. I enjoy it. Hit me up anytime if I can.
Hand over my heart. That goes both ways, man. It's so cool to have folks that are excited to come on and have fun, and then come sing karaoke with us at Talladega.
Always, every time. Yeah. And everybody, when you see when you see the nominees go up for the NASCAR Social Moment of the Year, make sure you vote for one of them that CJ's really hoping wins.
Right on.
We'll do.
I love it. CJ, thanks for being on, man.
See you guys. Thank y'all so much.
See you, man.
Thanks.
Ladies, gentlemen, and all you PTM Posse misfits.
Yeah, PTM Posse After Dark has just started.
Yeah, I need to fart. And I did.
That'll happen sometimes.
Oh,
it's,
man.
part of life.
Man. No, that was super cool. CJ he's so in tune with everything going on and so much fun to have on.
Yeah, and guess what, y'all? For everybody that stuck around, all 9 of you, next week we are going to have Hermie Sadler.
Whoa, no. Like the Hermie? Like
the Hermie.
The guy, like we got to be on our best behavior.
Elliott Sadler's older brother.
Or our worst behavior, I don't know. Like Hermie Sadler? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, like Sherwin blacked out for a minute, and next thing we know, we've got Hermie Sadler saying yes. So, props to Sherwin on making this stuff happen. We gotta we gotta be somebody.
We're gonna have to bring our A game,
right?
For sure. We're gonna go probably deep into the history annals of Hermie's racing career. And maybe not be as much, the current stuff that we do. We'll recap Martinsville in some capacity, and we'll make picks for Texas. But when you have a guy like Hermie on, who's done broadcasting for so long, you kind of just want to wind him up and let him run.
That's right. Yeah.
And
cool.
Hopefully we can create some questions that will allow him to do that.
Y'all be sure to send in any questions too. If you're listening on, be sure to send in some questions for Hermie, and we'll get you on. And Hermie will answer. That's what we're here for. We'll ask him, whatever crap questions that we have, but we're totally in for y'all joining in, hanging out, and asking questions and stuff. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask him. The question I most want to ask him is, between him and his brother and Ward, who has the best Virginia accent? Or, well, Marty Smith. I'll throw Marty Smith in the pot too. Between the 4 of them, who has the best Virginia accent?
Have you prepped him yet for the type of show that this is?
No, I will.
Okay.
I will. I haven't given him any indication of what this is going to be.
That's funny. Y'all are the best for hanging out with us. We've had so much fun, and CJ is the man. So thank you, CJ.
Yeah, we probably should throw the Wood brothers in there too somewhere.
Right? Right.
All the Virginia boys.
Right. Y'all, we will talk to y'all next week, and it's going to be so much fun. So, as much fun as we had tonight. So, with that, we'll see you next time. Peace out. Look for us on iTunes. Coming up probably in the next, 5 minutes or so.
Woo!
Peace.